Welcome to the Revolution of Purpose podcast. I'm your host, John Street, and each week we bring you conversations with thought leaders, entrepreneurs, and individuals who have aligned their life with purpose and created extraordinary results.
So I'm going to live through it and accept it radically with grace and hope and love.
I would be proud to be in this council.
It was an honor. I had so much fun.
Tune in every Monday for the Revolution of Purpose solo show and every Thursday for Revolution of Purpose conversations. Welcome back to the Revolution of Purpose podcast. This is John Street, your host, and I am so excited to have our part 2 episode with Jason Solomon. If you have not seen part 1, go on and look at our list of episodes and watch part 1 if you're on YouTube, or go listen to it on Apple, Spotify, or Amazon, wherever you're listening to your podcast, because you will not want to miss the amazing things that Jason dropped on us. I mean, he is such a wealth of knowledge. And Jason, it's great to be back with you, sir.
Same, man. Appreciate it. I look forward to doing this again, John. Anytime.
Me too. I love that part 2, you're inside where there's air conditioning.
Me too.
My thought, oh my gosh, you were burning up in the first one. And I'm so glad. We're filming this in July, for those who may not know or who may be watching this later. It's July 2026, and the U.S. is going through this crazy heat wave, this heat dome. So yeah, I'm glad you're inside with some air conditioner, man.
Thanks, man.
And if you watch this on YouTube instead of just listening to the podcast, you get to see my dog in the background from time to time. He is back there just chilling. He's my mascot. He's really the host of the podcast. He just lets me take the mic from time to time. But so Jason, we'll dive in, man. One of the things that really stood out to me in part 1 when we talked is that you've never seemed interested in fitting in. Like, authenticity usually comes with a price, and you seem willing to have paid that price. So what has becoming yourself cost you over the years?
Wow, that's a good question, man. What has becoming myself cost me? It costs a lot. It's a hefty price. I think I remember listening to an audio from Bob. This is one of his seminars he did 2015. He said there's 2 things that take place when you decide to grow. There's one force called attraction and the other force called retraction. And he said when you decide to grow, you automatically attract a new environment and you automatically retract from the old environment. And so, and it's not even something intentional. It's not like you sit there and say, I'm not going to talk to these people, associate with these people, be around these people. But when you start to think on a new frequency, everything on that comes to you and everything off of that leaves you. So when I changed my mentality, man, that's what happened. A lot of friendships, a lot of relationships that I had in the past, they may still be around, but they no longer exist in terms of proximity. Because again, when you decide to grow, if that person doesn't grow with you, then you automatically grow apart. So it cost me a lot, man. It cost me, I would say, a lot of, because I started this journey at 18 years old. But even before 18 years old, I was always on some path, right? And I never followed the route that most people did. So 14, 15, 16 years old, I wasn't doing what my friends were doing. I didn't have the luxury of having the proms, the homecomings, all the many girlfriends that they had, right? Because my girlfriend was basketball and selling candy. All right. I was just so focused on that. I didn't have the luxury of having the parties and all that stuff. But John, I remember as a kid, I don't know if I shared this on the podcast, there was a situation where me and a buddy of mine, he actually used to play in the NFL. He just retired from the NFL. His name was Chris Evans. He was a running back for the Cincinnati Bengals. And me and Chris would have, I still have it actually, we have the janitor's key. All right, you got to have a specific key to get into the gym. And I don't know how we got it. I think I found mine on the floor, right? When you're in the gym long enough, you find stuff laying around. I found one of the keys on the floor, and it was a key to make the basketball rooms go up and go down. We knew how to break into the gym. We knew which door they left unlocked purposely, right? And I remember we were in the 9th grade center. We were in the hallway doing dribbling drills. We were just practicing. And I remember thinking, because we used to say certain things to keep us inspired. Because again, as a kid, when you're focused, you miss out on a lot of things that you consider to be fun. But I think a lot of people make the mistake of fun versus happiness, right? When you see someone having fun, you're like, oh man, they're having fun, they're having fun. And we mistake that for fulfillment or for happiness. And we will see our friends, you know, at the time Snapchat was big, right? We would see our friends on Snapchat partying, hanging out, doing fun things, playing video games, and we missed a lot of that. And so one thing I used to always say to myself as a kid to keep me inspired is it's going to be way more fun to party on the jet than party in the basement. It's going to be way more fun to party on the jet than party in the basement. It's going to be way more fun to party on the jet than party in the basement. It's going to be way more fun. And that was our sense of, you know, okay, let's lock in and focus so that we can, if we're going to party, we're going to do it big time, right?
That is a
So I
brilliant
missed out.
affirmation.
Yeah, that was our affirmation before I even knew what affirmation was. Because again, when you're building something, um, it is not a sexy process, man. Like no one goes to a construction site and says, "Wow, look at this dirt." No one's like, "Oh my God, look at those nails. Wow, look at that 2x4. It's so incredible." No one goes when you're in the construction phase. It's dirty, it's dusty, it's muddy. It's you know, it's not the place where you want to be. After you leave, you got to shower, you got to rinse the dust out of your nails, right? And when you're in that construction phase, it almost seems like it's never going to end. So that's a very tough place to be, you know, and even certain phases of now in my life, I still feel I'm in that phase with what I'm creating now. Because I think anytime you create something new, you go through construction. So even with my retreats and the experiences that I'm putting together, I'm still in the construction phase. Even though I've done events for years, of course, I understand like the basics, but I'm attempting to do things that I don't know anyone that's done. I'm sure there's people that have done it, but the way that I want to do it, I don't know really anybody that I could call that's doing this, right? So it's a lot of dust, it's a lot of debris, and you gotta have you have to have a reminder of the vision, you know. And that's remember Earl Nightingale said it's not so much important that it's not that people forget their goals, they just forget to remind themselves of their goals. So you know, I missed out on a lot, man. I missed out on a lot of things that would be considered fun. I missed out on a lot of relationships, a lot of parties, a lot of youth experiences. I didn't have that in a sense of even wanting those things, which I think saved me in a sense, because a lot of my friends that were in a close proximity, you know, some of them are doing okay, but most of them may not be on the let's say the bright side of the law. All right, the right side of the law. Um, and I could have ended up just like them. I could have ended up in Marion County, you know, jail down the street too, right? I could have ended up in situations where I'm just in a low frequency life as well. And I'm not saying that's everybody, but a lot of people, you know, ended up in that route um, because they didn't have something they were grasping onto. And I was more afraid to lose what I had, right, than to risk it in terms of my vision. So I missed out on a lot, man. Even when I turned 18 years old, getting into personal growth, again, I missed out on what we consider to be fun, right?
Hmm.
But that
But you're
also
so
put me in.
driven, even then, man.
Yeah, 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 for sure, man. I think that drive is something that comes with curiosity. I've always been curious. Like I'm the kid where I remember I was maybe 14 years old. I would get on Google Maps and Street View of Paris, you know, Street View of this. I'm just curious. I want to see. I want to see what's out there, right? Um, and I think that's what happens with drive. When you're a very curious person, it drives you, right? So
Yeah.
missed out on a lot, but also gained a lot of experiences that you know, are some people can't even get anymore. You know, with the people that we've been around, like right before we got on, we were talking about the fact that you're now connected with, you know, one of my mentors, Miss Linda Proctor, who changed my freaking life, man. Her and
Hmm.
Bob. You know, I got the experience to be around them, or around him when he was alive, right? So I ditched the parties, and now I'm in a seminar. So
Yeah.
at the time, it doesn't sound attractive, right? Sitting in a seminar in
Hmm.
a suit, you know, taking notes. But dude, I wouldn't change it because a thing I learned from Bob was you want to gather certain experiences because it helps you sell what you're doing better,
Mm.
right? Stories sell. And I have so many stories. And the reason why it sells is because you can relate to people. I have so many different experiences, so many different people I've spoken to, so many different cultures I've been around, so many different crazy things I've done where I'm in a position where I can relate to so many different people. I'm in a position where I gather so many stories. And the man or woman that owns the stories rules the world because you can relate to people. So, pros and cons, law of polarity, right? There's opposites to everything. But for me, I wouldn't say I missed out on anything. I think at the time I thought I did. But again, the life I'm able to live today, just and not even since what I have, but my ability to think, right? My ability to think, plan. If I want something, I can plan a way to figure out how to get it. That's incredible. That's incredible to me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Well, and the taller the building, the longer it takes to lay the foundation. And so God, your higher power, the universe, source, whatever you call God, already had you in your teens building a foundation because that's how tall your building was going to be. There was no
Hmm.
time for you to put it off to your 20s or to your 30s. Like it had to start then. And so there may have been some things that you didn't do that other people were doing, but that's because their building isn't the same as yours. And you're getting all of these experiences and all of this time. Like how amazing is that at 18 years old to get into personal development work and start getting to mentor with Bob and Linda Proctor of all people.
Hmm.
Like that is clearly looking backwards, you can connect the dots and see how
Yeah.
God's hand was in that, all up in that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So,
interesting, man. Before we move on, I had
yeah.
a chat with a group of ladies from the UK yesterday, and I told them the same thing. I said, the taller the building, the deeper and more complicated the foundation has to be. And, I remember this was in 2018. We had an event. Linda had an event where Bob spoke at. We were at the Westin Prince, downtown Toronto. And I remember him saying this. He said, here in Toronto, in every major city, you'll see a lot of construction. And he said, you'll be driving past the construction site for months on end, right? And you hear the cranes, you hear the trucks, do, 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 do. You hear them hitting digging the concrete, laying the foundation. And he said, for months, you'll see that, you see that. And then all of a sudden, one day you wake up in the morning, you shave, you get in your car, you drive by, and then boom, a big building is popped up. And you're like, man, how did they put that together so fast, right? And what people don't understand is that the reason why the building seems to grow faster is because it took longer to build the foundation. The foundation is the most complicated, strenuous part that you have to build. And it is not the part that no one wants to build. It is because
Mm-hmm.
you don't see any fruits of your labor.
Yeah.
You don't see
Yeah.
any of the results that you want. You may see a little trickle, but you don't see any of the results you want to see. But when it comes time to perform, you're very well equipped. You're very well polished. Like even me hopping on this podcast, man, it's like I just literally got my son to go to sleep, ran in here. I didn't need any preparation because I've done many calls, many
Mm-hmm.
conversations. This is just in my subconscious now through the amount of repetition that I've had of building the foundation. I could sit on here for 5 hours and do a podcast or hop on a call with 2,000 people and speak to them like it's one person without any preparation because the foundation is laid.
Mm-hmm.
So again, now it's just a matter of exposure, and sharing what's already there. So yeah.
Yeah, that's huge. And the foundation building, that's not the sexy part. That's not the part that
Yeah,
people can see. Like the only people that can see the vision when you're building a foundation is the architect. It is the
there it is.
builder. It's you're not going to get everybody around you saying, "Hey, look how amazing everything looks when you're building
Hmm.
the foundation," because they don't see it yet, but you see it and you can't lose hold of that vision. It's
Hmm.
so important. And let me ask you, because you said something earlier that I think is really important too, Jason. Like, not everybody from your circle ended up in the successful life similar to what you're doing. Not that all of them ended up in jail, but not everyone's in that successful life. And I truly believe that part of the reason that we have our purpose, part of the reason we have our life is to change our community. So, what would
Hmm.
you say to someone, whether there's somebody who knew you back in the day, or if it's just someone who's watching this podcast and they feel stuck? They didn't start early. They are maybe in their 40s or 50s, and they haven't done the work. What would you say to them to encourage them that in this moment they could change their life?
Yeah, a quote I heard: "If God took away time, how old would you be?" Time is man-made. I used to have the a man by 30, mentality, right? Like, oh, if I'm not here by 30, or if I'm not there. Um, I think what if any idea I can give to someone is study people, like study individuals that actually made it happen. As men, there's this science. Most men don't hit, let's say, their prime until the age of 45 to 50. This is real. Most men do not hit their maturity prime and also their business prime until 45 to 50. But society has deemed us that if you're not a millionaire by 25, bro, you're losing. It's definitely not true. Um, the first thing I would say is get off Instagram.
Right?
But if you, I mean, I had somebody ask me a question the other day. It was two people that asked me this question. They say, "Hey, Jason, I'm just curious." They say, "You don't follow me on Instagram, right?" And if somebody I was mentoring one on one, they say, "You don't follow me. Like, I'm not mad, but why don't you follow people back anymore?" I said, "That's a great question. I'll give you a real honest reason." I said, "Because I stopped following people and I started to follow brands." I said, if I follow people, the only thing that's going to pull up on my algorithm is other people. And a lot of times, so in social media, not a lot of times, is a highlight reel. It shows your best day. It's your best shoes, your best hat, your best smile on your best filter. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So why would I put myself at a disadvantage by constantly looking at other people, right, that deem to be successful, where they only show the result, right? And that's not even the result of success. We have success all the way messed up, like a Lambo, a villa. It's not the result of success. Like, I view success as how many lives you're impacting. Like, I heard a guy say that success is measured by how many people mention you in their success story, right? Success is measured by how many people mention you in their success story. You're not going to find an audio where I don't mention Bob or Linda, right? So for me, that's my focus now, is like, okay, how many people are actually going to say, oh, oh, by the way, when they're on stage, by the way, there's this crazy kid named Jason, who kind of shared a little something with me, or I heard this quote from him. That's kind of where I'm at now, you know. And I realize there's polarity to everything. You talk about the foundation. Well, we don't get everything that we want right now. There's a quote that says you can have everything you want, but you just can't have it at once. So a lot of things are on their way. So for anyone that's in that's looking to start now, whether you're 20, 30, 40 years old, 50 years old, it doesn't even matter. I would say, number one, quit comparing the wrong way. They say comparison's the thief of all joy. Sure, but I think the wrong comparison is. I think if you compare yourself the right way, it can be very inspirational. Meaning, um, I look at certain people like, uh, I don't know, Bob's just one of the examples I can use. If you watch his story, I think in the audio, Linda shared this. Well, Linda and his assistant Gina shared her story. Um, when Bob had to come back to Toronto from Chicago to watch his kids, I think he was maybe 48 to 53, that age range. And Gina was his assistant. And he had like a little brick and mortar, on a strip mall, I think, some like little brick and mortar office. And Gina ran into the office to get him. She said, "Bob, come here. You got to see something." And he had his team in there, his clients in there. And Gina showed him outside the window that they were repossessing his car at 50 years old. Bob freaking Proctor. When you get your car repossessed, that means you haven't paid the car note. And when you haven't paid the car note, it's probably because you can't pay the car note, right? Not because you don't want to. No one just says, I don't want to pay it. No, it's like probably because you can't afford it. So imagine that stature, right? And, I know nobody wants to wait that long. I'm not saying wait that long to get your life in order, but there's just certain things that take place in your story that happen, right? It's situations, it's life. But what if he would have let that stop him at 50? He would have never got the secret at 70,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah, I
Yeah.
would have never met him. I met him at 80, right? So there's just some things that happen in life that just a part of your story, man. And it'd be a boring story if there weren't valleys to the mountains. So I think
I
anybody that's watching this, get off of social media, start to study people's stories that have been through something similar that you're going through. Maybe don't study any 25-year-old millionaires. Maybe you should only focus on people that like Myron Golden, who made his first million at 40 years old or 45 years old, right? Maybe study those people if they can relate a little bit better to your story. So it gives you it gives you hope, right? More than like, wow, I'm behind.
That is so important. I just shared yesterday. It was a joke that somebody shared. They're like, I'm 13 years old. I'm already a millionaire and blah, 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 But there is this whole culture that if you're not a millionaire by 25, if you're not ripped and shirtless and in the Lambo by 25, that you failed. And I know, I'm telling you, man. And I mean, and I think it's great to be healthy. And part of my story is
Hmm.
I've lost over 100 pounds, but I'm still
Yeah,
not where I want to be every day with
sure.
health or whatever. But in all things, we continue to grow, and we're not all the same people. We didn't all start from the same place either. Like,
Hmm.
there are people who deal with addictions in life and they've lost 20 years to addiction. And just getting out of addiction was a huge thing. But now they're starting from the same place we were at 20 years old and now they're 40. So I mean, like you said, comparison is the thief of joy, unless if you're comparing the wrong way. I love that.
Hmm.
You could almost say comparison is the thief of joy, but inspiration is like a joy giver or something. If you look at someone
Hmm.
and you get inspired, that's one thing, but we can't compare our journeys to them. I do remember. I think that story you told about Gina is in the
It's in the
movie
movie.
Bob Proctor, yeah, Legacy,
Yeah.
because I remember him saying, she said that he said, I never liked that car anyway.
Yeah.
And,
He said that's interesting, right? That was his
yeah,
that was his response to anything challenging. He was like, that's interesting. He
I
never let it
love
get to
that.
him.
I love that. Have you ever in your life gone through periods that were really difficult? Have you gone through periods, whether it was financially or something else? And I know in mindset work, we talk about the positive and we talk about, but I do think it's so important to acknowledge that even Bob Proctor had a car repossessed. Even
Yeah.
Jason Solomon had a rough time. John Street went through a rough time. Like, it's important for people who watch these things to know that we're all human and that we grow sometimes through these really tough times. So yeah, did you ever have a period that was really tough for you, and what did you learn
Yeah.
from it?
Dude, my whole life. I don't think it goes away. Um, like Jim Rohn said, what was his famous quote? Is that don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. I don't think it goes away, man. I don't think the tough times leave you. I think you just learn how to deal with them better, and you learn how to overcome them better. I've had a tough time my whole journey, man. Financially was challenging all the time. Like now I'm in a position where earning money is so easy for me, but the challenge is the keeping it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because what I'm starting to learn is the more money you make, the more people want it.
Yeah.
And then it's like I told someone the other day, I used to have $100 problems. Now I got $1,000 problems. Now every problem used to be $100. Now every problem's 1,000. And I was thinking this the other day. I'm like, what the why? Why is every bill 1,000? Why is every time someone texts me it's 500 or 1,000 or this situation it's 7 or 8 to 10,000? I'm like, why? And then I stopped. I said, Jason, chill out. These problems you have today, you would have killed to have these problems when you were 18 years old, when $200 was a great week. I remember when I first started my direct sales business, my first year I made 6,000. Or no, my first year I made 3,000. Second year, I made 6,000. Third year, I made 30,000. Fourth year, made 70,000, I think. I don't know. And then probably up and down from there. But most people are like, wow, in 4 years, you were 21 years old, 22 years old. But dude, those first 3 years, oh my God, right? And financially, disclaimer, since this is being recorded, I'll pull up the taxes if you want to see them. But it was embarrassing. I remember I went to my tax guy when I went from the year from 6,000 to 30,000. He said, "Oh my God, man, you made a huge jump." Right?
You
Because
that year.
that was a pretty good jump, right? From 6,000 to 30,000, it was a pretty good jump. But what I did not understand, I used to beat myself up because of that, right? But I did not understand that's how most businesses, first off, most businesses start with debt. They start with a loan. They start in the negative, right? And to make profit from a business, even if it's 3,000, if someone takes out a $200,000 loan, they seldomly make 200 grand that year to pay it back.
Mm-hmm.
They may make 70 grand, 30 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand, and they're in the hole for 3 or 4 or 5 years before they can ever even pay back a loan. And so me going through my challenges the first 4 years of earning the money, I thought I was the only one. Not until I realized that Jay is not the only one. You're just new. And I don't think we give ourselves enough grace for being new and bad at something. Like, there's nothing wrong with being bad at something that you're doing for the first time, right? There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is staying bad, right? And even when I was progressing, I still thought I was behind because of my environment.
Please pardon me while I interrupt your podcast episode with a quick message. If you're enjoying today's episode, can I ask you one small favor? If you're watching on YouTube, just please take a second to hit that little bell and subscribe to my channel. Hit the like button and share this. Share it with someone who needs some encouragement today. Also, if you're listening on your favorite podcast app, I need your help there too. I would be so grateful if you'd follow the show, leave a 5-star rating and review, and share this episode with a friend. These simple actions make a tremendous difference in the growth of this show. They help these conversations reach more people who are searching for hope, searching for purpose, searching for practical mindset tools that will transform their lives. And if you're looking for even more motivation, mindset strategies, and purpose-driven content, I would love to connect with you on social media. You can find me on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at John Street Official. Also, I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn. Just search for John Street. And then one last very important thing. If you've ever found yourself asking questions like, why am I here? Am I living my purpose? How do I get unstuck in life? How do I take my life to the next level? Then I would love to invite you to schedule a free clarity call with me. Let me be clear. This is not a sales call. This is not a coaching call with someone from my team. This is nothing pre-recorded. This is a real one-on-one coaching conversation with me. And together we will explore where you are, where you want to go, and what may be standing in your way. My goal is simply to help you gain greater clarity, direction, and momentum in reaching your goals. To connect with me, to schedule your clarity call, or to learn more about the Revolution of Purpose coaching programs that I offer, please visit johnstreet.org or reach out to me on any of the social media platforms I mentioned. And now, let's get you back to today's episode. So, Jason, you have built businesses, you've traveled the world, you have impacted thousands of people. And I know you still have a long way to go. I know that you're nowhere near your goal card, but you are impacting a lot of people. And I'm thankful for that. I'm one of the people that you impact. But has success felt the way that you imagined that it would?
That's a fast no. Absolutely not. No, man, at all. And I wouldn't even say, I would say if we're going off the definition of success that I live by, then I would say that I'm on a track of success for sure. I have 2 definitions of success. Number 1, the progressive realization of something that's worthy of you, right? The worthy ideal, the Earl Nightingale quote. I would say because I'm always progressing I think this is very worthy because I'm always progressing to this. I'm successful. And then I heard a quote that says, "You don't measure your success by how much money you make. You measure your success by how many lives you touch." In those two regards, I truly feel that I am on the right track of success. Um, I think, nah, man, success doesn't feel that way because, again, for me, I thought when you start making more money, confetti pops off, fireworks explode. But my perception changed because, again, I think when you start to build more, you create more problems. Most people don't talk about that. When you start to grow, you actually start to manifest more problems, more challenges, more obstacles, right? Because your mind starts to expand. So the things that you want to do are much bigger and they come at a greater cost. So I find I'm always creating problems for myself, which I think is, it's good. I'm an entrepreneur and that's problem solving. Do I always
Hmm.
enjoy the problems I create for myself? Absolutely not. Like, John, I'll give you an example of a problem. I just got an idea 2 days ago. Intuition said, I want to have a retreat in Bali in Indonesia. And I want to call it the SM Creators Mastermind, where we have a beautiful villa, 15 entrepreneurs and creators come together for 6 days, 6 to 7 days, do it in Indonesia, Bali. Like, yeah, let's freaking do that, right? And then I start to look up stuff. I'm like, ooh, I got to get a permit, Balinese permit. That flight is 25 hours long. And I'm like, Jesus, okay. And I'm running a business, so I got to think how the profit margin is going to work. How much is this? How much is this? Like, I got to fly this out, do this out. I got to find merchandise. How am I going to fit this on the plane?
And
They
even
don't
more
really have
food
any.
because you can't run to McDonald's at Bali.
You can't run to McDonald's. You got to go to the local shops. Now, don't get me wrong. I always plan retreats in areas that are tourist friendly, so there's not really big challenges when it comes to me going to like a third world country. But I'm like, why am I even thinking like Bali? Well, that is a way bigger problem than Miami. It's like, why can't you just do Miami? Right? That's what I'm thinking. And I'm like, why can't you just freaking go to Miami? And so it's like just problems, man. And I'm just manufacturing more problems. But again, I think that if you just want to do something that's never been done, man, you have to do something that you've never done. You have to go places that people rarely have trekked. I don't know anyone that says, "Yeah, bro, just got back from Bali," right?
Hmm.
I mean, I know some people now, but growing up, nah, man.
Yeah.
I don't see those people, right? Those people aren't people just run into every day. So I'm always creating problems for myself. I would not say that's a wise business move. I would not say it, but I will say it makes for a hell of a life
Yeah.
because I'm always thinking, creating, generating ideas. But again, I don't know, John. My life is just so many different ups and downs, that I have to penetrate through. I was telling Haley the other day, my spouse, and I was like, listen, it's interesting. My position is very unique because I ended up becoming the one for everyone. I said I'm the person that people contact with everything, right? I'm I said when you decide to become a leader and a mentor, I said you also opt in to become two extra things. You become a trash can and you become a firefighter because people dump all their trash on you, and every day you got to put out people's fires.
Hmm.
Now, there's the flip side of it, which is the influence, the fame that you can say that comes with it, the recognition, the sense of power that you have from being an influential person. But that's the law of polarity. So when you sign up for this game of leadership, don't just say, don't just see the person in front of the room and just admire that. You need to understand that that person that's in front of the room is the person. I shared this with someone group the other day. I said, if you ever want to get on stage, I'm going to teach you how to get on stage. The person on stage is the person that chose to do what everyone else could have done, but what everyone else chose not to do. Because in order to get on that stage, you got to go through a bunch of trash. You got to put out a lot of fires, a bunch of trash and a lot of fires. And every day, John, I'm putting out fires and I'm getting trash poured right on me. And it's just about being able to continuously maneuver through all those challenges, obstacles, things that are perceived as barriers. But again, when you know how the only thing that keeps me going, honest to God, true, the only thing that keeps me going is because I'm learning better and better how the mind works.
Mm.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm really understanding the philosophy that Carnegie told Hill. Any ideal that is held in the mind, that's emphasized, that's either feared or revered, will begin at once to clothe itself in the most convenient and appropriate form available. Any idea that's held in the mind, any idea that's held in the mind, any idea, and the only thing that keeps me going is just me holding my ideas in the mind. There's so much stuff that hits the fan on the exterior, even in my life, right? Even in my situation of what I deal with every single day. I don't live a lavish lifestyle that most people may think. Like I told someone the other day, most of my life consists of me just laying on my bed, responding to messages, responding to emails, taking phone calls. I don't go shopping all the time. I invest more money back into, like, I look at my retreats that I do like real estate or like the stock market. I invest back into my business like it's real estate, like it's stocks. And if you buy a real estate property to rent out, then I remember there was a gentleman, he was the number one realtor, you know this being a real estate in Utah. He said a good real estate property, for every $100,000 that it costs, it pumps out $100 per month passive. He said that's a good deal. So if you got a $500,000 property, if you're making $500 a month off of that property, and you're thinking like $500,000 and you're only making $500 a month. So just think about how many properties you need to own to positively cash flow $10,000 a month. Like, it's an incredible feat, a number that most people that get in real estate, they're like, oh, I'm just going to own one home and make $1 million. Dude, no, because you got to feed the beast. You open up a whole can of worms. Same thing with the stock market. Like, it takes years for that reciprocation to hit. And if you're wanting to bet on SpaceX shooting up, well, polarity, if it's a very volatile jump, you're going to have a very volatile dip.
Exactly.
So,
and buy the dip. That is
buy
not
the
financial
dip.
advice, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
No advice was given on this call.
No advice is given on this call,
But
but if it were me,
I
I'd
look
be
at
buying the dip.
buying the dip. So I look at that with everything I do, man. Like, I've sacrificed a lot. I don't even have, matter of fact, I just moved into this new place maybe back in March. I don't even have a
Congrats on the
bookshelf,
new
John.
son, too, by the way.
Thank you, man. He's finally asleep. I don't even have a bookshelf, John. I remember my buddy came in my house the other day. My buddy, he runs a few cleaning companies, multi-millionaire, good friend of mine. He came in my house the other day. He said, bro, you don't even have a bookshelf. I said, yeah, man. I said, listen, all my books are on the floor lined up because I'm always working. I'm like, I didn't even have time to go think about a bookshelf or designing my office. I literally just put everything where it's functional so that I can take a call, take a meeting, move from here, move from there. Like, I haven't bought new clothes since I left France. I'm so locked in on investing into these experiences, creating these experiences, and putting the resources back into the people. I have 2 gold cards right here, John, and I keep these gold cards on my desk. All right. And these are like my next steps, bites out of the big vision, right? All these gold cards that I have are bites out of the vision. And with what I'm creating, this was actually one of the first ones. It says, I'm so happy and grateful now that SM retreats are operating 3 times a year in luxury places around the world, producing millions and impacting lives in every continent in the world. That's the first gold card. Second one says, I'm so happy and grateful now that SM retreats are being recognized and awarded on a global scale for positive impact and are extremely high demand. Each retreat sells out the day it's launched. So outside of this, I don't know what else I'm doing, right? So for me, success looks like the desk that has a bunch of ideas on it, right? I remember the photo of the old Amazon photo of Jeff Bezos in 1990 sitting at his desk where he's got like the little poster of Amazon in the back, but he's got books and notes and things on the table, different ideas, 2 laptops here. I'm like, that is entrepreneurship. It is not in France in a $1 million villa, talking in front of people. That's not it. That's only like 1 week out of the next 6 months. What do the
Mm-hmm.
6 months look like up into that? And that's why I always tell people, like, you need to understand what entrepreneurship really is. It is not this game of always, like you said, shirt off driving in the Lambo. Matter of fact, when you can even afford a Lambo, you don't want the Lambo.
Exactly. You're
When
like,
you
that
can,
money could be making me more
that
money.
money could be making, matter of fact, I could use that money for this. Or I'm only going to get the Lambo as a marketing tool for a tax write-off. So da 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 da. So it's like it shifts the game on why you even get those things or why you even want
Exactly.
those materialistic things. And I don't like to separate material from invisible because material is just a form of the invisible, right? But
Mm-hmm.
it shifts why you even want those things. It
Mm-hmm.
shifts your perception on those things. It changes like the dynamic of what you're doing because sometimes those things interfere with your vision. Like
Mm-hmm.
I invest way more money into my business. Like someone's like, dude, how come you haven't bought a new car? I said I have. I just invested it into my business. I could have got a Mercedes. I could have got, drove around
Right.
in a nice car and looked just like everybody else in my neighborhood. But I promise you, no one else in my neighborhood is saying, I'm about to go to Bali. I'm about to do this event. I just got back from France. I got friends in 50 different countries. I promise you, no one in this neighborhood can say that other than me. And matter of fact, my buddy, who has the multi-million-dollar company, right? Very successful dude. He's 35, 36 years old. I said, hey, man, I'm doing an event in Vegas. You should come out here. I said, matter of fact, I'm actually planning on doing something overseas. I said, hey, you ever been out the country? No. You got a passport? No. No. What is the purpose of the business if you're not going to get experiences? What's the purpose of all that money? What's the purpose of the nice house? Just to be here? Mm-mm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm. Respect due to anyone that's developing and building what they're building. But to me, life is about experiences. Life is about, matter of fact, John, Bob told us to do this. I'm going to do this for sure. I want to find a dartboard. Okay. He said you should get like a flat map of the world, like a flat map that shows the entire scape of the
Mm-hmm.
world. And I want to find like a flat map that has it's like a dartboard. And he said this. I've yet to do it. I kind of do it, which is why I picked Bali. But I kind of do it already on Google Maps. But he said you should get some darts. He said and you should be in the place in your life where you could play this game. He said you and 3 friends should have like 5 darts each. And then wherever you throw the dart and it hits boom on that dartboard, he said you should go there. He said that's how you should live your life. He said that's the freedom and the flexibility and the experiences that you should have. So for me, John, that's what I'm all about, man. It's building those experiences, developing international connections and relations. Because again, to me, when you're 90 years old, or God forbid, 100 years old now, because we have so much technology. When you're 100 and you're on your last leg, the last thing I want to do is think about, yeah, man, my neighborhood was great.
I know.
My golf cart community was great.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
grocery store I used to go to every day was great.
Mm-hmm.
What? John, I have family members that have never left the city limits of Indianapolis. I'll
Wow.
be damned if that's me.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. I want to be like,
I
man,
don't
you
blame
remember that time when we went on safari in Africa and there were lions and we had to jump out the car to go pee and then hop back in?
you.
I want the, remember when that lion almost got us? I want
That is
I want those
that is a
stories, right?
Jason Solomon adventure if I've ever heard one right there.
That is one of, listen, I remember I told someone, my buddy Austin, because he came to all my different retreats. I said, what's crazy, man? Every single retreat, we had a big problem. I remember in one of our retreats in Utah, we had the UTVs I was driving. One of them flipped, right? And we flipped the UTV, which is like the big ATVs, right? And we're sitting down that night. I got a bruise on my leg from it. And I'm like, gosh, that was crazy, right? Remember when we just flipped that ATV and so and so got scared? Good thing we had
That's
insurance,
awesome.
right? But but again, just experiences, man. Like that's Jason at 100 years old. I'm gonna be like, man, remember when we did this? Remember when we did that? Like, remember when we lost all of this and we got it back? That to me
Hmm.
is life, man. That's how it should end.
Absolutely. And that life teaches, that life grows. You know, every one of those experiences is another brick in that building that is creating Jason Solomon, that's creating these self mastery retreats that are reaching people around the world. And that's, I love your zest for life, and I love all of that. I'm the same way. I'm like, I wrecked the snowmobile in Park City once, and I survived it, and it's the best story I have at a party. I'm so glad I did it. You
The
know,
greatest stories at parties, man. That's what we aim for, right?
it's the best story. So, Jason, I'm gonna wrap this up. You've been so generous with your time. I'm so glad that we've gotten to do a second interview together. But I wanna leave you with this final question. What is one thing about purpose that you believe most people are missing?
One thing about purpose I believe most people are missing. They're missing themselves in their purpose. I think it's a popular thing to talk about helping people. But if you don't help yourself, you're missing the point. So for me, um, my purpose, and I learned this from Bob, right? He says your purpose should always start with you, but then expand to the world. So he would always say his purpose is to live and work in a prosperous environment that encourages productivity and pleasure, where I can, improve the service I render to myself, my country, my city, my state, and ultimately the world. That was his. And I kind of modeled my purpose after that. My purpose is very simple. It's to first show myself a lifestyle I never thought was possible. Number one. And then, dot, comma, give those same experiences back to others. So that's my purpose, to first show myself a lifestyle I never thought was possible. And then second, to be able to create those same experiences and give those back to others. And I figured that purpose out during COVID, actually, before I started doing retreats. So when people see me doing these experiences, the reason why I can't stop thinking and planning, and that's why I'm like, why Valley? Why not Miami? Why can't my brain just shut off? Because that is my purpose.
Mm-hmm.
To first show myself a lifestyle I never thought was possible. And then second, to be able to give those same experiences back to others. And I think most people don't include themselves in their purpose, right? It's like the quote, I hear people say, oh, I want to help people. I want to help people. I want to help people. Well, empty cups can't pour into others. Fill your cup. And so you have enough to pour into other people. And don't pick the cliche thing. I don't know anybody that has the same purpose as me. I don't. And when I heard Bob's purpose, I didn't hear anybody that had the same purpose as him. Right. And I think also there's the last thing. If your purpose does not extend beyond your family, I don't think it's a real purpose. I remember doing so many meetings, man, where people would share their testimonial. I'm doing it for my family. I'm doing it for my family. I'm doing it for my family. And I get that. But that's a very shallow purpose. Only for your family? You got to think, anyone that's inspired us, they just do it for their family. Their family was obviously a direct beneficiary. But imagine if Muhammad Ali said, I'm just going to do it for my family. If anybody of great magnitude that we look up to that has shaped our world, Jeff Bezos, I'm just going to do Amazon for my family. No, get beyond your family. Your family is automatically going to be a direct recipient of what you do anyways. So why don't you have something that extends beyond them? Something that is going to leave a mark, leave your chapter, where people will start. And again, I think beyond the physical, right? I want people to be telling stories about my experiences, right? To tell stories about the things that we did or the impacts we touched, like how we talk about Bob. Bob been dead for 4 years, 5 years, but the stories are going to live on. The impact is going to live on. And his family was a direct beneficiary of his purpose, but they were not the only part of the purpose. So I think there's two things. Most people exclude themselves, and most people end with family. And if you don't mention yourself, right, because you are the drive of the purpose, then you won't have the fuel, the desire that I truly believe you'll have if you're only just focused on other people. Sometimes you got to, do something for yourself a little bit. And then also it has to stretch beyond that immediate environment. Because when you do that, that's when like I could never be the rich guy that nobody knows.
Mhm.
I can never be the guy that has the Lamborghini that only drives it on Sundays, parks it in the garage to hide it from everybody else. I'm the dude that's going to go to the worst neighborhood in Indianapolis in the nicest car and tell all the kids, "Yeah, hop in, man, get your photos." You know,
Mhm.
that I'm that rich. Like I'm gonna go to the worst neighborhood in the nicest car and let people sit in it, right? I know you want to rob me, but not right now, right? Just sit in the
Mhm.
car, right? I have security. I'm not stupid, but I'm that person. Nah, dude,
It's
let's come on.
because
Let's
of
go with
impact.
me.
You are an
100%, man.
impactful person. And that, I think, if I had to describe you in one word, it would be impactful. Everything that you do is impacting, like you said, not just your family, but the literal world, Jason. I mean, you are flowing in an impactful life. And I think that's an
Appreciate it, man.
amazing
Yeah.
purpose.
And I'll end it off with this quote. I heard this quote from a very wise guy. He was actually an artist. His name was Nipsey Hussle. He said, "The highest human act is to inspire." There it
That's
is.
huge. That's amazing. Jason, if people want to connect with you or follow you, social media, website, what are your handles? I'll also put this in the show notes too if you're listening to this.
Yeah, people can actually on WhatsApp, they can message me. My contact +1317 432 9454 or at underscore Jason S34. And they can connect with me there. I have, I just created a YouTube channel for the retreats, kind of show some videos there as self mastery retreats. You can look it up on YouTube, see some of the videos that we have from previous experiences, and yeah, just reach out, connect. I'm a real human, not a robot, right?
You're
Um,
not AI generated? What?
nah, no, not AI generated, man. I use it, I just not used by it, right? Um,
That's
but yeah,
good.
I'm always open to connect and people that really want to grow, really want to change, really want to get better. I'm always there to do it. And I'm the person where if I say it, I'm going to do it. So that's another thing about me is that I don't say anything that I don't plan on doing. So I'll see you guys in Bali.
That is huge. Absolutely. You'll see me in Bali too.
Yeah, you're
I
coming?
missed I'll be there. I missed France because I broke my tailbone, but I'll be in
Oh
Las
yeah.
Vegas and I'll be in Bali.
Dude, I'll
Um
let you know. I'm generating some stuff, John. I'm
it's
making
going
some
to
phone
happen.
calls. You know what's crazy? Dude, I have to share this, man. I'm so sorry. It's
You're
how
fine.
manifestation really works. So remember I told you in 2020, I watched every travel show you can think of. YouTube, every vlog, everything you think of, man. And there was a few guys on YouTube that had vlogs that I watched, and I was admired their vlogs. So they're on the camera, they're right next to a lion in the Serengeti, or jumping off a waterfall in Mauritius or something, just in incredible places. And again, when an idea comes, don't question. Like Earl Nightingale said, ideas are like slippery fish. If you don't gaff them with a point of a pencil, they will go away. When an idea comes that you have no idea where it came from, you have no point of reference of who put this in you, it's from a higher source. Please trust it. Please take it. 2 days ago, John, all of a sudden, I was watching a show. There's a guy named Christian LeBlanc. He, million plus followers on all his platforms. He millionaire guy from his content creation, from his travel shows, etc. And I was watching his show where he was doing like a bike. He did a 42-day motorcycle ride around Africa. Crazy, right? And I was watching his shows, watching his episodes. His channel is called Lost LeBlanc. So it's LEBLANC because it's like a French name, Lost LeBlanc. That's his YouTube channel. And I was watching the show around Africa, right? Watching the show, and then one of his little clips popped up, and then I said, I would love to meet that guy. I'd love to collaborate with him, right? Love to meet that guy. And, with successful people, everybody wants to meet them. Everybody wants to connect with people, and I've got a taste of that too, where if you have an event, everyone wants to talk to you. So I understand, right? But I say, I want to meet him. I want to find a way to collaborate with him. And the idea said, have a retreat in Bali. Christian, the guy who runs that show, actually has a villa in Bali that just rated the #1 villa in all of Bali. It's called Lost Creators Villa, right? And so I found it on Airbnb, and I reached out to him, and me and him were messaging about the villa, and I told him about my retreats. I said, "Listen, man, I'm gonna have a retreat in Bali. I want to use your property because I want to connect with you. Da 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 da. Blah 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 blah, etc." And then the name hit me because I was going to do another SM 100K retreat, but I was like, no, Bali is where creators get together. Bali is where people that have crazy ideas come to get away from the world to talk about those ideas. So I said, you know what? I'm going to call this retreat the SM Creators Mastermind. And all the ideas came just from that one idea happening in Bali. Then I started to make new connections. I've actually just connected with 2 people today that live in Bali unintentionally, right? The universe is just lining this stuff up. I'm looking at all these different venues, and I have the craziest plan for this retreat in Bali. It's going to be the greatest thing I've ever done. I just got to get the Balinese permit. That's not too hard to do.
Oh,
you just got to call the government, right? And, you know, it's a fee. You just got to pay the fee to have an event there. But then again, all these ideas, like I'm telling you, when you get a vision, do not freaking question it. When you have a vision, actually, I told someone this yesterday. I said, if you ever go to a movie, there's this movie, The Odyssey, that's coming out, right? The little Greek movie. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty cool how it has it. I said, but when I saw that commercial of The Odyssey, that means the movie was already finished. All right? Whenever you see a preview, because the preview is what they've done the full movie, and they've taken the most exciting clips out of that movie to show you, to entice you to come to the movie. So by the time you see the preview, the movie's already finished. I told someone yesterday, I said, if you have a preview in your mind, God gives you a preview, that means the movie's already finished. You just got to work backwards to put that piece together of those previews, to put the pieces of the full movie together. It's already done. If you have a preview, an outline, like in the book, one of my favorite books, where's it at? I have it on my floor. Power of Your Subconscious Mind. You all should get this book. You see, it's one of my favorite books that I read a long time ago. All right. This book right here by Joseph Murphy, Power of Your Subconscious Mind. All right. In this book, it talks about how in order for you to start chasing a vision, you do not need the clearest picture of the vision. It says all you need is the outline. That's it. All you need is the outline. And then the steps will be filled as long as you start to move towards it. So for anybody watching this, if you have any preview clip of a vision, please know that the creator of the movie's already finished the movie. The movie's already finished. You just have to work backwards to put those pieces together. And if you do that, I promise you, life's going to open up incredible doors. So, John, that's all I got to say, man.
Jason, that is so powerful. I was raised in southeastern United States, raised in Alabama, and raised in church, and that's what we call shouting words right there. Like that, it's like amen, an amen. I could run the aisles. Like that is just so huge, man.
I'd just get an image of John running the aisles. Man. There you go.
I'm telling you what, I could do it because you're so right. The creator of the movie has already created it. If you've got the preview, you just got to get to that frequency. You just got to flow in it. Though,
it's already done.
I love that. It's like a slippery fish. You got to put a pin in it. My mom used to say, "Opportunity is bald-headed." When it runs past you, you can't grab its hair. You got to grab it because it don't have no hair to grab. If it passes you, you can't get it. So
that's funny, man.
Jason, you are the man, and your impact is huge. Thank you so much for being here with us again on this podcast. We may have to do this again in a few months. I really appreciate it.
I'm down for it, John.
And everyone who hears this, definitely find Jason, connect with Jason, tap into this energy, tap into this impact, because he is a life changer. And to everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to another amazing episode of Revolution of Purpose podcast. Don't forget the solo show on Monday. Go back and watch the first episode with Jason Solomon. You'll find that in the show notes as well. And remember, live your own revolution of purpose. Thank you so
Amazing.
much.
Thank you so much, John.
Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If this episode encouraged you, if it challenged you, or if it helped you see your life a little bit differently, would you do me a favor? Subscribe to the podcast, leave a rating or review, and share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. Every share helps us reach more people who are searching for hope, purpose, and a life of greater meaning. And if you're ready to stop wondering what's next and start living with greater clarity and purpose in your own life, I would love to meet with you personally. Visit johnstreet.org right now to schedule your complimentary live purpose and clarity call with me. Until next time, remember, your purpose is not something you find. It is something you awaken to, and then you choose to live it. Go make today another step in your own revolution of purpose.